This is the single most expensive piece of legislation ever passed, as far as we can tell, in terms of dollars. I have to ask, big picture, how comfortable you are that what happened today, this vote today, this legislation today, will go the distance that America needs it to go toward holding the economy together and helping us respond as best we can to what's happening.
The legislation that we passed today is a very big down payment, but we have much more to do. But just to back up for a moment, the legislation that the Republicans passed with their tax scam a couple of years ago approached almost $2 trillion in giving 83% of the benefits to the top 1% in our country. When the president said today, I've never signed a $2 trillion bill, well, he nearly did in that giveaway. It didn't create jobs, only increased the national debt, and was a real disservice to our children and their future. When they talk about this as $2 trillion and all that it does for America's workers and families, it's the least we could do, and we have much more to do, and I can talk about it if you wish.
Yeah, I want to talk about what's in the bill. I want to talk about the president's signing statement. Your office just put out a statement moments ago on the president using the Defense Production Act. I do feel like, though, I have to ask you about what happened today with Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky, this Republican congressman, calling for a recorded vote, this remarkable scene of members of Congress basically fighting their way back to Washington in order to be here because he was going to insist on a recorded vote. You were seen talking to him on the House floor before he raised his objection today. Can I just ask you what you said to him and what your view is on what he did today?
Well, I tried to be respectful of his enthusiasm for his idea, but I did tell him that it wasn't going to work, that we will have a voice vote, that he was just, and it wasn't going to hold us up too much, and I recommended that he take his enthusiasm to the floor and speak about why he was unhappy and let that be his statement instead of making a statement that wasn't going to work, that wasn't even going to register on the clock more than like 1 minute, that we had a plan, that we always knew we would pass this bill and we would pass it today, and they would not let any nuisance stand in the way. And that's really what he was, a dangerous nuisance. But later in the day, we saw the president sign the bill, and he was a dangerous president. It was so sad to hear him say as he signed the bill, just think back 20 days. 20 days ago, everything was great. Everything was great. And now, 20 days later, we have this challenge. No, 20 days ago, we had nearly 500 cases, 17 deaths. We had a threat that he chose to ignore. And now we have about 100,000 cases and over 1,500 deaths. And he's still in that state where he's not doing enough for all of the PPP, the personal protective, PPE, personal protective equipment that our brave healthcare workers, first responders and the rest who risk their lives to save other people's lives urgently need.